Wow. It hit a lot of people yesterday. The head coach of the Indiana Fever, Christine Sides, gone. She gone. Fired.
Did you see what just happened in the WNBA? Christie Sides, the coach of the Indiana Fever, just got fired. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's all because of Caitlin Clark. You might be thinking, wait, what? How can a rookie player get a coach fired? Let me tell you, this isn't just any rookie. This is Caitlin Clark. The same Caitlin Clark, who's been lighting up scoreboards and shattering records left and right. And yet, somehow, Sides couldn't figure out how to use her properly. I mean, we're talking about the greatest force in Indiana here. Can you believe it? A coach who can't harness the potential of one of the league's most talented players.
Most important thing in every state is Caitlin Clark, at least in Midwest states, at least in the great state of Indiana.
You know how sometimes things just don't click. Well, that's exactly what happened with Christie. Sides and Caitlin Clark. It's like they were speaking two different basketball languages, and the translation was getting lost somewhere between the coach's clipboard and the court.
The one thing I will say for Christie Sides is that, look, I don't think anyone who's been watching the Fever, like as much as there were opinions at the start of the year, a lot of negativity around Christie Sides because she clearly, the pressure got to her. The pressure 100% got to her.
Let's break down what Sides was trying to do. She had this whole system in place. She even had the big three. Right. But here's the thing. It just wasn't working for Clark. Sides wanted to run her plays her way. Almost like she forgot she had a generational talent on her hands. Clark's skills were being forced into a box that was way too small for her game.
Many of us felt like that this team underachieved this year. You've got a big three. Anytime you got a big three in basketball, you should be not getting eliminated immediately upon arriving in the playoffs. And you got an all-world talent, and it felt like the coach was holding back Caitlin Clark.
Now, you might be thinking, but Clark's putting up great numbers and you're right. But watch closely. There's more to the story. Those stats, they're just scratching the surface of what Clark can do. It's like having a Ferrari and only driving it in the school zone. Sure, it's still impressive, but you're not even close to seeing what that engine can really do. Remember that game against the Sun? Clark was forced into the corner for a game-winning shot, who puts their best player in the worst position. It's like asking LeBron to play center or Steph Curry to post up that corner. 3, that's not Clark's sweet spot. It's the basketball equivalent of trying to write with your non-dominant hand. Sure, you might get the job done, but it's not going to be pretty.
Once against, I think, the Connecticut Sun, the one that ended up in the jump ball, where they ran the worst play in history with Caitlin Clark curling into the right-hand corner to shoot a fading 3 while going right when she's not good going right.
It's like Sides was trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Clark's talent was being wasted on plays that made no sense. Instead of unleashing Clark's full arsenal, Sides had her playing decoy half the time. Can you imagine having a cannon and using it to shoot confetti? That's basically what was happening here.
That Coach Sides' rotations aren't any good. She's a terrible coach. Hey, I guess they were right. Look, kudos to the guy from Iowa that called my show and said that Coach Sides is the worst coach could possibly be.
The tension was building. You could see it in Clark's body language coming out of timeouts. She looked frustrated, defeated. It's like watching a racehorse being told to trot. Clark would come back onto the court, looking like she'd just been told to tie her shoes together before the race.
We've seen Christie, Caitlin Clark come out of timeouts. If you watch Caitlin Clark's body language coming out of timeouts every single time she's told to be a decoy. Every time she's told to be a decoy, she just walks out and just stands there.
Here's the real kicker. Clark's usage rate and efficiency under Sides were way lower than her college numbers. It's like Sides took one look at Clark's college, highlight reel, and said, "Nah, let's do something completely different." Basketball experts were scratching their heads, wondering why Sides wasn't tailoring the system to her star player. So here's the deal. Clark's stats were great, but Sides, the system was holding her back from reaching her full potential. It's like Clark was playing with one hand tied behind her back and still dropping 20 a game. Imagine what she could do if she was actually put in a position to succeed.
Nonsensical substitutions at all the wrong times, benchings, leaving Caitlin Clark on the bench too long, playing shoddy defense. Christie Sides, I'm going to be honest, feels like a really, really good junior high basketball coach.
Now, let's look at what happens when a coach doesn't maximize their star player skills. Because trust me, this clash of style, it was just the beginning of a much bigger storm brewing in Indiana.
Not your head coach. Was she good in game adjustments? No. Was she good at making subs? No. Was she good at seeing what the other teams were doing and game planning for that? No.
A bigger storm was brewing, all right. And it was about to flood the whole Fever locker room. You know how sometimes a tiny spark can start a wildfire? Well, that's exactly what happened between Clark and Sides. One practice, things got so heated between them, it's like the whole gym caught fire. But that's not even the craziest part.
Felt like they were winning in spite of her. Like they were having to play the opposing team and their own coach at times.
Remember that frustrated look on Clark's face? We talked about it wasn't just for the cameras behind the scenes. Things were getting intense. We're talking team meetings. So tense you could practically see the sparks flying. Sources say the atmosphere was so thick with tension you could cut it with a knife. It's like everyone was walking on eggshells, waiting for something to snap.
You can't even make it up. But there is absolutely no way that Caitlin Clark wanted Christie Sides to coach. I don't think she hated Christie Sides enough to say, go get her fired. But she went from Lisa Bluter.
Now, you might be wondering, did Clark actually speak up? Oh, she did more than that during one practice. Clark and Sides got into it. Big time. We're talking raised voices, heated arguments. The works. It was like watching two basketball minds collide at full speed. And let me tell you, it wasn't pretty. But here's where it gets really interesting. It wasn't just Clark who was fed up. Other players were starting to question Sides' decisions too. It's like the whole team was suddenly waking up and realizing, hey, maybe our star player has a point. The locker room was turning into a pressure cooker, and everyone could feel it. You could see the effects on the court too. The team's performance was like a roller coaster. One game, they'd look unstoppable. Like they could take on anyone in the league. The next, it was like they'd never played together before. Talk about whiplash. Fans were left scratching their heads, wondering which Fever team was going to show up each night.
Look, one of the things that trended after every loss was the horrible coaching job that Christie Sides must have done during the game. And yeah, that's what would happen. She would bleep up a game and they would lose. In a game that they would blow huge leads. You name it. She ran the gauntlet of messing up games for Caitlin Clark and her team this year.
Here's the real kicker. The locker room was totally divided. Some players were backing Sides, sticking with the coach's system. Others, they were all in on team. Clark ready to shake things up. It was like the Fever had turned into two teams, within one, and nobody knew which side was going to win out. The whole situation, was a powder kick just waiting to explode. You could practically feel the tension every time the team stepped onto the court. It was only a matter of time before something had to give.
This comes down to Caitlin Clark and what her and other players had said internally to the new management and leadership.
Now imagine you're in the front office watching all this go down. Your star player and your coach are at each other's throats. Your team's playing like they've got split personalities, and the locker room's about to burst into flame. What do you do? Well, let's see how the Fever's management decided to handle this mess. Hold on to your jerseys, folks, because the Indiana Fever just pulled off the basketball equivalent of a buzzer beater in the front office. You might think you've seen bold moves before, but this is on another level. The question isn't just what did they do, it's how on earth are they going to make this work? Let's dive into the Fever's latest Hail Mary.
Didn't exactly get the vibe that Clark was in love with Christie Sides. Not that she hated her, but you didn't get the vibe that she was in love with her.
So here's the deal. The team's a mess, Clark's unhappy, and Sides is hanging on by a thread. What's a front office to do? It's like they're playing a high-stakes game of chess, but half the pieces are on fire. Do they stick with Sides and risk losing Clark? Or do they make a move so bold it'll make the rest of the league sit up and take notice? Now you might be thinking, come on, it's just one player. But hold up, this isn't just any player. This is Caitlin Clark we're talking about the same. Caitlin Clark, who's been filling seats, selling jerseys, and making the Fever relevant. Again, let's look at her viewership.
Ticket sales grew in 2023 by 16% from 2022. Ticket sales have grown by 93% in 2024. What that means is without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA would have taken till 2029 or 2030 to get to where Caitlin Clark has gotten them today. Before the 2023 season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlin Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400% viewership.
The front office was in a spot tighter than Clark's handles. Firing a coach mid-season that's like swapping out your engine while you're still on the highway. But keeping your franchise player happy, that's the basketball equivalent of keeping the lights on. You just got to do it.
Did the little gal from Iowa get the coach fired? A lot of people, if you're going to do it the right way, you're going to have to say yes, aren't you?
You can bet those meetings were going non-stop. It was probably like a war room in there with strategies being drawn up and erased. Faster than Clark can hit a step-back three, the pressure was on to make a decision, and make it fast. Then boom, out of nowhere, the news breaks. Christie Sides is out. Just like that, the Fever made their choice. It's like they looked at the chessboard, said, screw it, and flipped the whole table. The new president of basketball operations didn't mince words.
Incredibly, thank you to Coach Sides for embracing the challenge of leading us through an integral transition period over the last 2 seasons, while also positioning us well for future growth. Yeah, really? All right, then. While decisions like this are never easy, it's also imperative that we remain bold and assertive in our pursuit of our goals, which includes maximizing our talent and bringing another WNBA championship back to the great state. I'm putting that in because it is a great state of Indiana. Coach Sides was an incredible representative of the Fever in our community, and we wish her nothing but success in the future.
This move, it's the Fever saying, Clark, you're our future. They just pushed all their chips to the center, betting big on their rookie sensation, a power play that's got the whole league buzzing. But Clark didn't even have to fight to protect her.
But obviously, this becomes a conversation again. There is no way that Caitlin Clark fought to keep Christie Sides. That is, I think, what the extent is. I think if Caitlin Clark was asked, do you want to, do you think we can win with Christie's side, she probably said no. Because there's no way Caitlin Clark went to the organization and said, fire her. Because, like, for everything we know about Caitlin Clark as a person, she wasn't going to do that.
But wait, there's more to this story. This isn't just about sides or Clark. This is about the entire WNBA landscape. Shifting other stars are watching other coaches are sweating. And every front office in the league is wondering if they'd have the guts to make the same call. So what happens next? How will this shake up the Fever? And more importantly, how will it change the game for star players across the league? Buckle up, basketball fans. This ride's just getting started. Wow, can you believe what we just witnessed? The Caitlin Clark era in Indiana has barely begun, and she's already turning the WNBA upside down. This isn't just about one coach getting the boot or one rookie flexing her muscles. It's a whole new ballgame in women's basketball. Remember what Dan Dackett said.
Oh, did the little gal from Iowa get the coach fired? A lot of people, if you're going to do it the right way, you're going to have to say yes, aren't you?
And you know what? He might be onto something. We're seeing a shift in power. Folks, star players are calling the shots like never before. So what do you think? Did the Fever make the right move? Or are they playing with fire? Is this the dawn of a new era in the WNBA? Or just the start of a whole lot of drama? One thing for sure, the game will never be the same.